Hello, bienvenidos. Welcome to Ticket to Life. I'm Henry, and thank you ahead of time for listening. I hope everyone's had a great past week from last week's podcast of anxiety. If you haven't heard it, it's great. I've had a lot of people tell me, oh my gosh, you just described me in that podcast. Well, sorry. Well, at least you can say you've been on a podcast description. Sorry, I'm scooting my chair up if I sounded a little strange there. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well. If you've never ever been to Texas, Texas is the best state ever, of course, because I've lived here all my life. But we have the craziest weather here. Last week we were in the upper 70s, and today's high is 44. Lots of rain, and it's cold outside. But that's Texas. Anyway. Have you ever been part of a clique? I have, but I didn't know I was part of a clique or didn't realize I was part of a clique. And if you don't know what a clique is, it's a group of people that usually only allow, or they're not mean. Well, some of them are mean, but they're not real mean. But they only allow so many people to be in their little group. And sometimes you may have a men and women that are cliques, and just women. Usually you hear about women. But anyway, like I said, I didn't realize I was in some cliques until somebody said, well, y'all are so cliquish. What? Because you don't realize it, but some of these cliques can be kind of mean. But what made me think of that was because women do have a tendency of sticking together like a close-knit family does. Back to PMS. We have the women, no, not back to PMS, but we will be talking about PMS in a little bit. Women have a thing called menstrual sync, I believe is the name. And it's where women, they say it's a wives' tale, not a wives' tale, but it's period syncing, where if you're in physical contact with another person, your pheromones just influence each other. Now, a lot of people say no, but why not? Why wouldn't that happen? We take on people's traits by hanging around with them, so why not that? But anyway, so this is a very interesting podcast for many because we're not only going to be talking about PMS, we're going to be talking about IMS. So we'll say IMSing, like she's PMSing, but this is IMS. It's Irritable Male Syndrome. It's the man's version of menstrual, of being, but they don't have menstrual cycles, as we know, unless they've had a sex change, and I guess they can make that happen. I don't know enough about that. But anyway, premenstrual syndrome. Now, the men's is nowhere as crazy as the women. And for us, I think about back in yesteryear, when women were probably like this and they had no clue what was going on. We get cravings and bloating, and we're tired, fatigued, depressed. Well, I don't know. At the drop of the hat, women will cry, I don't know what's wrong with me. Tender breast. And for men, it's not, of course, this bad, but I'm sure it's one of their favorite parts of PMS is our mood swings. But a lot of men don't even realize this. I'm not saying they just don't know. They don't know that that's what happens to us women, and it's out of our control. It's just we just have them. And why? Oh, why is because unless you're pregnant, then guess what? Yeah, you're going to have these. So our estrogen and progesterone levels, our wonderful, wonderful levels, begin falling. Now, once there is light at the end of the tunnel each month, and once all those little things stop, all those little symptoms stop, then you get to start your period. Woohoo! Yay! Now, I had PMS awful in my 30s. Um, I thought I was going crazy. I didn't know what was going on with me. And I just remember it was just awful. And I remember I felt like Dr. Jekyll, and I'll say Mrs. Hyde, but and it was absolutely nuts because our bodies do this, and when it's literally out of our control. So I had this wonderful, wonderful doctor, Dr. J, use his initial, and he was amazing OBGYN, the only other man who has ever touched me in the past 39 years of marriage. But and I told him about him and just started crying in his office. And he told me he started explaining PMS. Now I did know about it, but I didn't realize it could really do this number on my body. Um, but anyway, so he now just this is the disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying Dr. J says that everybody should do this. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a life coach. I'm just Henry. These are my opinions, and this is what worked for me. But he put me on B6. So right before my PMS would start or the week into PMS, I would take B6 every day. And I don't know what it is about the vitamin. It was a game changer. I became like a normal human. Well, if there's such a thing as normal human being again. It was crazy. So to this day, I take my vitamin Bs, especially when I'm really tired. I don't take them on a regular basis. I hope I never get put on medication because I would be lousy to be on medication because I forget to take my vitamins, the little 7-day thing to put your pills in. So I have 7 days of vitamins and it takes 2 to 3 weeks because I forget to take them. So anyway, so if you are having really bad PMS or you're not even sure about it, talk to your doctor and tell him or her. No. Go and see them. Don't call them. Don't do a video thing. Go see them. You need to see them because you don't want to live like that. It's awful. I mean, you literally have a split personality and you're like, what is wrong with me? So you're either going to be apologizing to your family for the whole week. I'm so sorry. It's this week, but you just need to know this. So I do have a little bit of funny advice, but not really for dads out there who have their wife and let's say 3 daughters, 4 daughters. Okay, that's a lot of PMSing going on because they will all sink in at the same time. Their periods will be synced. This is when you, dad, need to go and stay with someone, go get a hotel room, go out of town, because no matter what you do between all these women and all this, you're not going to be able to fix that. I'm just kidding. Deal with it, Dad. But it is kind of tough. So it is kind of good to give them warning. I used to give my family a warning like, hey, guys, it's PMS week. So everyone would stay clear. That sounds horrible, right? Now let's talk about the men. Who does not love a man? I love men, especially my man. But now for men, it's interesting because do men have PMS? Well, it's sort of like PMS, but it's called IMS, Irritable Male Syndrome. Or, of course, it is, just to let you know again, it's nowhere as intense as what us women have. PMS, of course, it's not. It's not the same, but it is because men have hormone levels that change just like we do. It starts to go down, and especially their testosterone. This can trigger this, of course, the testosterone helps keep men. Of course, testosterone actually, what it does, it helps, in case no one knows, I'm sure everybody knows, or you can Google it or whatever. It helps with men's masculinity. It helps with their muscle mass. It helps their sex drive. Yay. And, and it's like little Billy who he was singing soprano in the choir yesterday, but then today he is singing a baritone. So it has such an effect on a man or a young man, 13, 4, of course everybody changes at different ages. So anyway, and then every morning, just to let you women do, if you don't know this, but I'm sure if you've been with a man before, their testosterone level peaks in the morning. So, they could be in bed and there's a little pop tent underneath their their sheet. Then he's peaking. His testosterone's up. Although I hope no one gets offended, but if you do, skip that part and keep listening. Although I did read that older men get their testosterone goes down and they become um a little bit more normal. When I say normal, that's not normal. Their testosterone levels just aren't as high. And that's, I think, why they develop the blue pill, because sometimes they just can't get it to work right. So, just to let you know, talk to your doctor if you're having problems with that, because your testosterone, men, they're, like I said, their levels go down. And more than likely, they are more of a candidate for the IMS. So, um, now that was interesting, I'm sure, for everyone to hear. But men also may, as they get older, may become sympathetic. I do have a friend who's a therapist, and she did tell me that as men age, they become more emotional. And I have seen that with some of our friends. Because, men are told not to cry and to be strong. And I think that's really a deal with police officers too, or firefighters, or any doctors, anybody who's helping people, because you can't cry in front of these people. So you keep it locked in for so long, for so many years. So I guess when you do get older, you're finally able to get that empathy or sympathy that you'd had for that person for so many years, and you do get emotional, and I have seen that. I mean, I'm sure if you have your parents and you start talking about old times, they may get choked up. So it's just very it's great, I think, because I feel like God gave us that emotion to use. So if you're sad about something, I don't care if you're in a teen or 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on, cry, man. It's okay. You will feel so much better. And you know what? If someone makes fun of you for being so emotional, screw them. You don't need that person in your life. Okay, I'm getting off on another topic. But anyway, men can become sympathetic, which I can see. And when PMS is on women, and I don't know if men's is like around the same time, like women, we just have this. So I don't know if they have it too, like the same amount of time or whatever. So anyway, if you're curious, talk to your doctor. I'm all about talking to doctors. That's what we pay them good money for. That's why they went to school, was to help us. So um it's a good thing just to know that we're all the same. But it is funny because I also read that men become sympathetic to some women during PMS, and men may pick up on those habits, like, oh God, I'm kind of moody too. It's kind of like when a woman's pregnant. Have you ever heard of this? I do have a friend of a friend of a friend whose cousin's friend, names have been changed to protect the innocent. Barbara is pregnant. And Barbara is having all the little symptoms of pregnancy. She's nauseous in the morning. She's um, tired. Her breasts are tender. One minute she wants to have sex. The next minute she doesn't want to have sex. Well, all of a sudden she did notice that her husband was kind of following in her footsteps there. He was nauseous. He was tired. He was in the mood for sex. She was not. And then the bad thing about that was, she said that she did have to feel like she was trying to take care of herself, but now she had to take care of her husband too. So, and I have heard of this other than my friend here. So just know that it's okay if that happens. And just to let you know, in case you're wondering, she's not sure she wants more kids after this, because she said it was hard enough to take care of herself. She doesn't know if she can take care of her and her husband and a child, another, if they chose to have another baby. So, for better or worse, we choose what we decide to choose in life. But I need to tell you something funny about my PMS. It was always funny, and I still do that. I don't have that monthly thing, but okay, you don't really need to know all that information. But anyway, I used to and still do once a month. I always know when someone who I'm very close to is about to PMS, and I start craving chocolate. I am exhausted. But the weird thing is I get into this nesting period for the past 60 whatever years. I don't know when I first started, but anyway, and I'm rearranging furniture and organizing. It's every month. So once a month, if you come to my house and I am cleaning like a fiend or organizing something, you go, oh, she must be PMSing in her 60s. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that little tidbit with you. But anyway, I myself would not have changed anything in my life. I love being a woman. I love who I am. I probably could have done without the bad PMS in my 30s, but you know what? So be it. I survived. And you will too. If you're a man, you will survive IMS. If you're a woman, you will survive PMS. Just be happy with who you are. Be happy for what you've done in your life. And most importantly, choose happy. So this is Henrie. I know it's a kind of a strange topic, but I thought it was interesting. So I hope you enjoyed listening about my PMS and IMS. And please don't forget to find your blessings in the next day. You should find blessings each and every day because they're around you. So until next week, this is Henrie. Thank you for being my wonderful listeners.